So take a couple of good breaths. Let's listen to our body, check in with how we're doing right now. Even for a moment, take your hands and just touch your palms, just kind of softly rubbing it back and forth, letting this be a moment to bring us into our sense of feeling just a little bit more. Then let one or both hands rest on your heart. And take a couple of breaths, imagining you're breathing into that heart space. So as we're heading into our class today, the thought that we're working on is imagining that, like, what if when we were young and innocent, what if we had a very soft seed inside of us? When that seed was soft, it was able to grow, it was able to flourish. It was like a bud just reaching upward toward the sun, and nothing could stop it. And then maybe when we got older, we started to harden around that seed. We started to make it so that it had a huge hard shell so that nobody could penetrate it. So our thought today is coming back to softening that heart area. So that could be dealing with some hard emotions like sorrow that we hardened around. Could be dealing with some physical stuff that happened that makes us always protect a certain area of our body. It could mean lots of things to each individual person. But in our class today, just imagine that quality of softening our seed, softening our breath, softening our muscles. And in that soft quality, we're able to just enjoy the present moment a little bit more. Things feel less stressful. It's less about how perfect things are and more about just how good things feel in your body. So that's the image I wanted us to take on as we head into our class today. So with that, to get us started, let's begin with some nice initial stretches for the major muscle groups of our body. Let's start to stretch the arms all the way to the back wall. Begin to let the shoulders wiggle to the right. And shoulders to the left. Just a couple of easy times back and forth. Helping to soften through some of the spots that have tension. And as we come back through the center, bring the right knee into the chest, give it a good hug. Maybe help to bring that knee a little bit closer so that you feel the hip flexor, or maybe you're circling the toes for a moment. Clockwise and counter, easing some tightness there. When you're ready to shift up to hamstring, right leg extends up to sky, grab on, pull it in. First major stretch for the legs, so give it a couple of good breaths. Another really good inhale. A nice exhale. From here, the right heel hooks to the back left part of the fabric. That end that's clear by your face, hook it to that back left end. If you're confused about this, get neighbors and then slide the shin in. So it's kind of like doing a pigeon pose, but laying on our back. Just take a couple more good breaths. One more huge inhale. A nice exhale to extend this leg back up to sky. Drop it down. And second knee into the chest. That hip flexor stretch, or maybe you're focusing on ankle. And that feels heavy, good. Please start to extend left leg up to sky, hamstring stretch. Grab on wherever you can reach. Thigh, calf, foot. Another good breath flows in. With the exhale, hook the heel to that back right part. Slide the shin in. And if the knees just make it neighbors, but feel that hip, getting that good chance to open. And another breath flow through the nose, good deep inhale. Perhaps exhale out the mouth. Free out this leg. When we drop it down, sit up just enough that the armpit can come free out the sides. And then continue to let your head and your arms open up backwards, gentle back bend. If you want to make it deeper, you could sit up and scoop the fabric even further down to your waist. It's up to you how deep you want to take this first one of the morning. Just give it a couple of good, easy breaths. More good. Inhale. Exhale, the chin comes in. Grab onto the fabric to help us sit up. And then arms stretched forward toward the toes. Let the neck be heavy forward. Easy for tension out of the neck. Let the left hand reach up to the sky and circle all the way to the back wall, a gentle twist for the spine. Turn that hand the same way it approached it by going to sky and then forward. And then second side, reach up and back. A couple of breaths in the twist. Good. Returning the hand all the way forward. See if you can straighten the legs just a little bit more, helping the hamstring stretch here. Continue to tilt forward. Then feet kick free out the front end. Hands are all the way back behind fabric. So heading to a full inversion. Hands are behind us with the thumbs. The thumbs help to push the fabric down to about where the pants are, the back side of the pant line. From there, keep it at that spot as you lean halfway back and then grip back on for safety, like a tabletop. Once we're here, the legs go wide. Continue to tilt all the way backwards. Once you're upside down, let the ankles wrap around the fabric. From that ankle wrap, you're safe to let go. Good. So this could be a nice spot for some shoulder stretches, such as clasping hands behind your back, or other things that just intuitively feel nice. Inversions are one of those things that some people like to stay upside down a long time. Others just want to be upside down for 3 or 4 breaths and then come up. So it's up to you when you come up. We'll give it plenty of time for those that want to take their time and just let the spine be clean. We're grabbing just right. Grab back where you first started. Yep. So inner thigh, inner knee area. There you go. And from that easy grip, the feet is unwind and roll up. There you go. It's okay if you're still upside down, no rush. Those that are up, take a nice restorative pose. Hook your elbows and just lean forward. The floating child pose, so a nice long stretch for the muscles at the back. This is another place where we can just let the head rock left and right if there's neck tightness. Good. Sitting up, clasp your hands behind the back. Shift your hands to the right hip or the right waist. And then let the right ear drop to the right shoulder. So that quality of softening through that tension. Soft, easy breath. As head travels back up, hands go to left side, and left ear to left shoulder. And as the head rises up, the hands release. Let's bunch onto the fabric. So gripping up the fabric to the side that faces you into the center of the room. So it helps you see inward to me. When you've got both hands on that side, right on the inner side, you'll walk your arms straight. That gives you some space for that leg to swing all the way up and over. So once you're inside for the straddle, let's take a couple of cat cows, bunch the fabric up. When we lock the arms straight, we round our spine backwards like the cat. And then when you bring the hands to the heart, arch the heart forward, even gaze up a little bit. Nice exhale, pushing into the fabric, round back. Inhale, heart opener. Good, you're welcome to add the legs of the cat. I'll take 3 more, good exhale. Two. One. Beautiful. So slide each of the heels into the fabric. Each leg will extend out long. Try to engage the core so that we're sitting up nice and tall as possible. Arm strength helps to push the legs outward even more. And by the way, if you're sitting both got you in a spot where you're just rounded back and you can't really adjust out of that, what you can do is grab your hands up high physically lift up the sitting bones, and then when you lower back down, usually it's at a spot where you can sit quite a bit higher. Good. So from here, let's start to slide the right hand down the right leg. Left hand reaches up to the sky and continues to lean over. Rising up, we'll switch sides. Left hand down, right hand up and over. Beautiful. So rising back up. For this next one, we'll want to make sure the toes on each side are inside the fabric. So even if you have to scoot it in a little bit of from where it was, that's okay. Get each of the toes inside fabric. And then slide the heels in close to the glutes. The knees pop outside the fabric. That'll help us out where we're headed. So once we've got this little kind of frog prep, grab the hands onto the fabric in front of you, reaching high, and we'll come to a low squat by popping the knees all the way out, balancing on the toes. Good. Once we're in the low squat, reach up high again, then stand all the way up. Good. Keeping the inner thighs squeezing together helps the balance. We're going to face to the mirror, so the shoulder that's closer to the mirror right now comes behind. And that hand grips on. We're going to get the hips to face all the way to the mirror. And from here, start to take a little bit of a split action. One leg forward, one leg back. 2 good breaths. Then soften down onto the back knee. From here, readjust the grip to the inside on the front long line. Sliding the hands down takes us to half split. If the back knee wants to scoot further backward, that takes us closer to full split. We're kneeling on the back knee. Got it. And then just readjust the hands to the inside. You got it. Just like that. Lift the torso up, and we'll shift this to pigeon pose. So this front leg needs to have the knee swivel up to the side. Once we're there, the front leg goes forward, the back leg goes backward. A nice deep pigeon pose, good hip opener. So come back up right in the center. So you've tried to swivel the knee to the inside, try to swivel the knee to the outside. So to the back door. Just let it rest all the way down. Good. Now, sweep your hips forward. We got it. Okay, so staying inside makes it a bit of a back bend. If you want to take it to more of a sleeping pigeon, your shoulder that's over your toes comes out and just lean forward. Take 2 more good breaths. For that second breath, rock your weight onto the hip that's forward, that forward leg, rock your weight onto that hip. And then your back knee needs to swivel all the way open so we can return back to that wide figure BC. Even place. Arms again, press the leg wide. Take 2 or 3 more soft breaths here. Good. So we're gonna take all those stretches to the second side, starting off from the standing position. So if you're tall like me and your toes pop down a little bit, go ahead and slide them back in. Heels come in like a little frog. The knees pop outside the fabric. Gripping the fabric up in front of you, into the low toe squat. Make sure head's completely free. Once you're here, grip up even higher. Stand all the way up. And now it's the shoulder to the back wall that needs to switch. So that shoulder comes all the way behind, and that hand grabs on. Once you're there, try to keep the hips facing to the back wall. Send one leg forward, one leg backward. Nice split action for a couple of breaths. Another good inhale. Exhale, lower onto the back knee. Hands come onto the inside. Meaning the heart forward is half splits. You also shift your hips forward and closer to full splits. Beautiful. So weight up through the center. And then preparing for pigeon pose. This front knee needs to swivel out to the side. Once you've got it open, send your front leg forward, your back leg back. Again, you could stay with both hands inside, that's fine. Or the shoulder that's over the toes, the front toes. That shoulder can ease out. Good deep breath in. Out. We'll rock our weight onto the front hip on this side. As we come back inside, the other knee swivels open. 2 more breaths from this wide angle position. And let each foot free out of the fabric. We'll take it to a deep hamstring stretch from this place. So one hand is like a stop sign. Push into the fabric directly in front of your face. From there, take your opposite hand to grab the foot and then swing that foot exactly where the hand is pushing into. Once you've got one foot up, you just have to put the other foot next to the first. When you've got both feet in front of you, you'll try to straighten the legs as high up as they want to go today. If you ended up rocking, just kick your feet into it. That helps us slow it. Even widening the arms out. Kind of soften into the deep spots here. Any muscles that are extra tight, just see if you can help those to relax a little bit more than they are. Stay here a little bit longer if you love how this feels, or you can shift to cobbler's pose, bottoms of feet together, slide the toes in as close as you like. Sometimes here I'll use my hands to help the knees rotate even more open. Or sometimes I'll just press my hands behind my back and just pull my shoulders for a nice little stretch. And just let the muscles soften, the muscles that are trying to resist it. As we start to head out, the feet will end up both of them to the mirror side. Then you'll shift the hips a couple of times until your hips are facing all the way forward. So we'll be preparing for Vampire. Those that are super familiar with Vampire, you can just head into it. Those that it's maybe your first time, feel free to watch first if that's how you learn best. And then I can guide you back into it again. With Vampire, we need a complete thin layer of fabric, absolutely covering the shoulders, because this is like a shoulder stand. The fabric that's around our shoulders is what's gonna hold us up. We don't want too much excess though, because the excess will push into the neck. So I'm using my elbows to gather the excess down to my waist, and then I lay all the way back. To take all of that excess fabric down to my feet, all I do is step my feet in closer to my glutes, lift my hips up and straighten the legs back out, and that'll shift all that excess fabric down. For today, where we're headed, you do want that excess fabric to cover the feet. So go ahead and take it like a little blanket over the ankles and shins. Good. So you've got a complete, good, safe covering over shoulders, so hands grip up high, left and right. Hike the feet up to sky. And then the feet push outward to that spot that we just gathered up with our hands. When you turn your toes out, that helps to lock it much more. Then push into the fabric to rise upside down. Go ahead and stay for a couple of breaths. Good. So we're already starting to play with a little bit of core stuff. Just sliding up and down is really good for working that core. I'll give you another core variation. Because our feet are inside the fabric, you're safe to start hiking your toes down to the place right in front of your heart. So it's like a plow pose. Good. So when you get to that point when the toes are in the fabric, the toes can't go any further, that's a nice safe point that you can start to extend out like you're Superman flying above the sky. Very good. So once you've done the Superman, obviously a little bit of core work to stay there. So you'll eventually come back with hips over the shoulders and Try to hike the toes back up to sky. You're welcome to do a couple of reps of that. So slowly put the toes down and then flatten out. Then hips back, toes up. This can be super slow, it can be super fast. You just want to hang it upside down instead of going through that full rope motion. You don't have to take it. And always know if you feel a lot of pressure in your neck, that's usually a sign you have too much fabric around the shoulders. So you can always scoot just a little bit more to your feet. So we do have about the majority of class out. If you're still upside down, feel free to take another 2 or 3 relaxing soft breaths. And eventually start to ease your way out. You'll either take your recovery through the Shavasana, just laying back for a couple of breaths until you feel like it's safe to move on. Or you can come back to the floating child pose, sitting upright, just leaning forward for a breath or 2. Just like I mentioned earlier, we always take these recovery poses after the inversion because it gives our head and our blood pressure time to flip back to this orientation. So if ever you know in your body, I just need to rest a little bit longer or bad things are gonna happen, I'm dizzy, maybe nauseous, things like that, just rest. If you know that it's safe, you're good to move on, then you'll kind of help me know just by coming up to the nice preparation pose, so the seated posture, just kind of helping me know you're ready to go. Beautiful. So then to head up and out of the fabric, the hands grip on both sides from the outside. This makes it easy to just lift the hips right up and out. Taking the hands a little bit wider than shoulders, walk the arms out straight behind us. Arch the heart forward and then lean back just a matter of 2 or 3 good inches. And also shoulders get a good opener. So nice inhale. Exhale. Weight over the standing legs. Slide the hands a little bit wider. And then see if you can completely take the hands up and over your head. Good. Reset the grip about as wide as shoulders in front. Lean forward, so it's like a 90-degree angle at the waist. Let the hips wag a couple of times, just kind of easing some of the tension out. Feel how this gets us into the side ribs for a moment. Back to stillness right in the center. Shift your weight onto left foot. Right knee comes to nose. And then kick it all the way back, warrior 3. Let's repeat that 4 more. Curl knee to nose. And kick back out. 3, 2, 1. Stay in the warrior 3. We'll shift to half moon. So left hand slides down to the center, as right hand slides up. Pike the hips to stack. Try to get that top leg floating as high as it can. And then as we start to head the foot down, we're going to go into a shoulder stretch. So keep the grip as it is. As that right foot goes back to the floor, allow the right shoulder to rotate in its socket all the way kind of forward and down so that it's rotating back to a nice, just easy shoulder stretch. Good. Circle that shoulder out. Slide the hands forward. Back to that nice starting spot. Shifting your weight onto right foot. Left knee comes to the nose. Kick back. Repeating 4. And back. 3. 2. 1. We're shifting to half moon, so right hand comes to the center. As left hand slides up, the hip stacks. Good. Keep the grip the same as the foot drops down. Let that left shoulder rotate down in its socket. Down and back. And free out that shoulder. Back to the starting spot. Nice inhale flowing in, and out. Soften the knees, roll up. The right leg inside, starting off at the ankle. So we'll take a nice hamstring stretch. Some people do this just by sliding the hands down, heart gets closer to the thigh. Some people take a split by sliding the hands up, sink the weight forward. By the way, I tend to prefer my stance to be really close to plumb line. So if I were to gaze up, my head's like 2 or 3 inches behind rather than 2 or 3 feet behind. That spot tends to work the easiest for me. Good. So weight back over standing legs, flip the fabric to the thigh. Slide the hands back up. Doesn't have to be a grip at all. It can just be flat hands. Start to sink the weight forward, warrior 1. Grip both hands to the left side. Start to rotate the standing toes to point to the left. Sinking weight forward, maybe the arms open up, warrior 2. Push your tricep into the fabric to give you something to work against. Good. Grab back on. Weight over the standing leg. Slip back down to ankle. We're still facing the back door. So from this spot, grabbing onto the strand that's closer to the back door, slide the right hand down, left hand up. This opens up the chest nicely. You can also take that split action forward in front. Good. As weight comes back, just the right hand stays. Continue to turn your standing toes to the back wall. The leg that's in the fabric, the knee has to bend down. Then we'll do an easy grip over the shoulders for a moment. You can hop closer to a better spot of balance. Good. Once you're here, we're going to take a split action. So hands go down to the floor. Both legs try to straighten. And walk the hands as far backward as you can. So backwards as in trying to get behind where the foot is. Good. Walk the hands into plank position at the back end of the mat. The left foot, we try to step into the fabric. That already feels intense, to lower to the left knee. If you're in that plank position, you'll take a couple of rounds, curling the knees in and straightening back out. You choose how many rounds will work for your core. If that variation is a little too intense, then just work the knee up and down a couple of times. Whenever you're ready to drop down, sooner or later, put the left knee down and just take it to pigeon pose, lower to elbows. The right knee drops down to the floor. Take a moment, maybe with a child's pose, or if another recovery pose like a down dog feels better, that's great. A couple of breaths. Got another side, so you can either just come directly up or facing forward, grab onto the fabric, get the feet under the ground and do a couple of little pull-ups, just adding an aspect of arm strength before you're all the way up standing. Good. Keep going if you're going. Whenever you're up, left ankle in. Make sure you're not standing too far behind plumb line. Hop right up almost to it, and then either heart down or slide the hand up. Split. Good. So weight over standing leg. Slip down to thigh for a moment. Hands come up, nice and soft grip. Sink weight forward. Warrior one. Now that this isn't a time that we have to wear out our hands, you can just literally use palms, and that would be safe. Just as safe as the death grip we sometimes take. It's that quality of sometimes softening when it's not necessary to have so much tension. Good, so taking it to warrior two, grab onto the right fold, rotate your standing toes to the right, sink your weight forward. You don't have to open up the arms, it's only if it feels like the balance is safe. Hands return, weight is over standing leg. Let's slip down to this left ankle again. Then we're turned to open to the side. So we want to open our chest. So this means right hand has to go up, left hand has to go down. You want to sink more weight forward to mirror side, that's okay. And weight over standing leg. Just the left hand is on for safety as we take one more quarter turn to face the back wall. The knee has to bend down. Sometimes a little hop back for balance. And then we take it to the splits. So hands need to end up on the floor. Both legs trying to go straight. And if you want more, walk your hands as far back hips as you can. Good, walking the hands to that plank position. You could take the same option as before, helping right foot in, just curl the knees in, straight back out. A second option would be piking hips above shoulders, and then flattening back out. Your choice, take the amount of reps that's gonna work for your body. Sooner or later, when right knee drops down, it's another moment. One more good inhale. Nice exhale. Keep the knee out. Keep that trail close for a moment. If there's any last stretches our body needs before we head to Shavasana, this is a good moment to take maybe a minute or so to do any last things. Maybe seated stretches that just feel good. Maybe a spine stretch, a little leg stretch, last hip stretch. Any of these things that will help our practice and our body feel complete. So no sense of rush. It's just these last things that feel good. Now, whenever you reach that point of satisfaction, sooner or later, some will get there immediately, some might want another stretching. But when you are satisfied, you can head to your Shavasana. So this might be a laying on the floor Shavasana if you feel like you need that grounding quality. It might be back up to that floating Shavasana, like how we started class. It's just whatever Shavasana would feel most complete to help your body come back into a nice restful position. Sooner or later, when you're in that restful spot, imagine you could tune into the seed and maybe feel how it doesn't have to be so hard all the time. Feel if that seed is ready to soften, ready to accept water and sunlight, maybe even ready to grow into something beautiful where previously we thought that there was only sorrow. Let this breath flow for the next few minutes. Keep relaxing breaths in and out. Let that easy cycle lead us into this restful meditative state. So here, let's begin to deepen our inhales. Deepen our exhales. Introduce little movements up to fingers and toes. Ankles and wrists. Stretching out. We're waking up first thing in the morning. Perhaps allowing shoulders to wiggle right and left a few times. Those that are in the fabric, sometimes it's fun to take a fetal position. You'll keep the legs long, but you'll roll over onto one side body, one hip on top of the other hip. And let yourself curl the knees into the chest and arch the spine back, alternating back and forth a few times. Both on the ground, fetal position can also feel really nice for the body. Make sure to balance the spine out if you're in the fabric. Just get to one side, make sure to take a few breaths to the other side as well. Eventually coming up to a comfortable seated position if you feel ready. Here we tune back into our heart space, hand to the heart. We imagine kind of touching upon that seed from earlier. Perhaps the seed that's been hardened over time, becoming unwilling to grow. And notice if it's almost like this practice is fed at water, fed at earth, fed at sunlight. Notice if that seed is a little bit more willing to soften that hard shell, a little bit more willing to crack open. Let that beautiful new growth start to happen in our life. Like a transformation of energy where maybe once that seed was sorrow, maybe now it's willing to grow and shift, shifting its energy towards something beautiful and new. So with this special kind of growth to happen, with that to lead us into the rest of this marvelous day, let's wrap up the time we shared together with the sound of Om. Inhale now. May we fill with light, happiness, and peace. Namaste.